Hey, what's up, everyone? We're excited for another weekly whiteboard. It's blank. We're going to have some great thoughts up on here. Hopefully, we can knock out the entire whiteboard. Have to erase it a couple times. So, yeah, thanks for chiming in, guys. It's kind of fun doing these. We get some great questions, and yeah, real exciting. Anyways, just before we begin, talk a little bit about my weekend. My weekend getaway. I went to Center Hill Lake. We went to Rock Island State Park. That is located kind of just a little east of Nashville. So I took a 4-hour drive there this weekend, packed up the kids, the little rugrats, the wife, went with some families, and we boated the Southern Way on a pontoon boat. So we had some good times. I went tubing, kneeboarding, got knocked off the tube a couple times. It's fun. Anyways, that was my weekend. Hopefully you guys had a good Labor Day weekend. Sorry about that, Labor Day weekend. So first, I'm going to start off with a question. Donna Chazanov, hopefully I pronounced that right. Anyways, Donna, great question. Here's a math problem. Take $100,000, invest in 4 rental homes or a syndication group to buy an apartment building. How does income, profit, tax deductions compare in a hypothetical comparison? Wow. Okay, Donna, you're asking a good question there. First off, that's very deep. I probably need a spreadsheet, things like that, to really do this justice and service. But I can give you general things here. So first off, let me pull up just like one of our typical turnkey houses, and we'll use that kind of as a scenario to kind of give you an idea of the returns of if you bought 4 turnkeys, and then I'll kind of give you. We've done a couple syndications. Kind of the numbers we projected. Obviously, we've done a couple of our own apartments, and I know the ROIs on those. We've sold one to start to finish. We've had a couple that we've refinanced, and then the most recent apartment syndication, we just bought it 3 months ago, but the projections are looking good. But I can give you a general idea on that, so you can kind of compare apples to apples, buying 4 turnkey rental properties or buying into an apartment syndication, putting capital into it. Okay, so let me grab just one of our turnkeys over here that kind of is what I think could work to fork in $100,000. Okay, so I have a property here. We sold it. This is already sold. Okay, no, can't buy it. It's already sold. It's gone. All right, but let me pull up the pro forma. All right, I don't know if people can see our pro forma. Anyway, go to memphisinvestmentproperties.net. Click the Properties tab, log in, and you can go click here for details on our properties. Let me just make sure. And when they come available, you can click here for details, and you'll be able to see the pro forma that I actually made myself, custom. But anyways, you click here for details, and in there it opens up a marketing folder, and then one of those folders say pro forma. If you click on that, this is kind of what I'm running through. So here is a typical property. The pro forma, is that good? Can they see that? Kind of the numbers and stuff. Anyways, you see the pro forma. Anyways, it's got a lot of numbers on there. Let me just run through a little basic one. So this property, this is a great example. This property, 4745 Macon, already been sold. So let's go buy. So you have 100,000. Okay, so you're gonna 25K each. So this is a great example because with this property, the purchase is 99,000. All right, so that works out perfect because 20% down, then some closing costs. This one was total investment is 23 with like our estimated closing costs. Anyways, we could just round up and call it 25, right? Even though it's a little conservative. Anyways, kind of helps out. So anyways, this property, for example, the rent is $895 a month. Okay, then we put a 4% vacancy, 8% property management fee of collected rent, actual property taxes on there, insurance, repairs, HOA fees. This property doesn't have an HOA. Okay, and the repairs are estimated at a 6% repairs maintenance that you're holding back. So anyways, the total operating expenses is $249 a month. $249 a month. Okay, so you would minus that. So the net operating income on this property was $610 projected. Okay, so this is like monthly. This is annually. It's easier to do it monthly. I understand it better in my head monthly, but annually on paper is better. So annually, $895. So this is minus a 4% vacancy, but anyways, $10,740, and then your total expenses are going to be $2,948, $2,948. I know you need, okay, so you also need to minus your vacancy of 430. Also, this minuses a monthly vacancy of 36. So that's why the 4 isn't in there. That's why it's not totally, that'll add up right though, right there. So your NOI that we've estimated on this is 7,326. Okay, Donna, so great question here. So this is what one property would be. So obviously we would times this one by 4, right? But the lever ratio here, and this one, our total investment, we said 23,230. Okay. So then you get a loan. We estimated on here 20% down, 4.25 interest rate. Your monthly payments are $393 a month. So we had your annual mortgage payments. I'll just call that the mortgage. Annually, 4,718. 4,718. Okay, so your cash flow. Cash flow is net operating income minus your mortgage payments. Net operating income is income minus expenses. So your cash flow is $2,608 net. Okay. So your cash flow is $2,000, so that's your return divided by that 23,230. Okay. If you divide those together, that's going to give you a cash-on-cash return of 11.2%. Pretty dang good, right? Okay, now you own this, so comparing this to a syndication, you own this 100% yourself. You aren't forking over like a 90-10 split or even up to like a 50-50 split with the syndicator. You own this all yourself. Also, you have to manage it more. So it does take a little more of your time, right? Because you're owning it. It's all your 100% your responsibility. You're not diversified over many units. You're over 4 units instead of like 100 unit. Anyways, you're getting that. So there's your cash flow. Then property appreciation. So we guesstimate the property appreciation is 2.5%. Okay. Now, how did we come up with that? Actually, it's very conservative. Over the past 3 years, I have data on this. Did have a little video on it, sales appreciation by zip code. Anyways, we've gone up 4.5% to 5%, 2017, 2018, 2019. And I'd say 2020 is right on tail projecting that, maybe better. So we put with a 2.5% property appreciation, goes up from 99 to whatever that is. Anyways, we put down here as 2,000. Okay, divide that by your 23,230, right, would give you a 10.8. And you're like, wait, Sean, but you said appreciates 2.5, so I only get a 2.5, right? You would think you'd only get a 2.5. No, that's because it's leveraged, right? You're leveraging. You only have this much down, not the whole price. Hence the value of leveraging. So a great return there. You can kind of see that. That's a 10.8%. Okay, so you're getting that return. So you have 1, cash flow, 2, appreciation. Third thing to calculate, mortgage principal reduction. Mortgage, pay down. So this is the first year, as you know, on your amortization schedule with your mortgage, right? It's a lot of interest and principal over time, and over time gets better. So anyways, that first year where your interest is the highest, you're paying off $1,347. 1,347. Divide that by your we'll just call that A. your money you put in, that is equal to a 5.8% return. Holy moly, just keeping a good credit score and being a nice, honest person, or paying your mortgage. And and guess what? Who's paying for that mortgage? Your tenants are paying for that mortgage payment, right? Rent and mortgage. So anyways, just paying it. You're making a 5.8% return, basically just sitting on your butt, right? Pretty easy there. Okay. So fourthly, another thing to calculate is tax savings. Okay, so now I'm not an accountant or CPA or a lawyer or anything. Anyways, these are all just my opinions, these weekly whiteboards, and my thoughts and my experience. Anyways, you can write off the value of the property, not the land value, but the value of the property, the building value. Consult with your accountant on that. Anyways, the appraiser, the county appraiser, appraised the land value. Do we have that on here? Okay, net cash flow. Anyways, okay, let's assume the land value is 20 grand. So let's say the building value is 80 grand. You can write that off over 27 and a half, okay? So 80 grand divided by 27 and a half, you can, this is a standard deduction. That is 2,909. Now that goes off against your adjusted gross income, things like that. Talk to your accountant. But anyways, let's assume you were in a 30% tax bracket. You'd get like a net, like money you wouldn't have to pay on your taxes, 30% of that. So that'd be $872 divided by A over here, which is your all in 23230, 3.75. Holy moly, tax advantage. And this isn't factoring in, you can write off a lot of these expenses. You can write off actually this mortgage interest according to certain, obviously there's certain conditions on that. You can write off insurance, repairs, and all these things. You can write off your travel, right? This is now a business you have. Even if you're working, you have a business, you can write off travel expenses to come visit me and eat some food with me here in Memphis, right? Because you're looking at the properties with me. We're discussing business. It's a business trip. Anyways, a lot of things like that you can kind of consult with your accountant on. Anyways, that's very, very, very conservative on that tax write-off. So let's hit these bases all together, okay? So we're adding up the 11.2 cash flow. We're adding up the 10.8 appreciation. We're adding up our 5.8 mortgage principal pay down and 3.75. So total ROI. All right, guys, you excited for this? 31.5. First year. This gets better every year automatically. This is kind of consistent every year. I would say appreciation gets better every year. Cash flow, rents go up. I've kind of done studies just seeing, our data. We manage 2,700 doors. We're hitting 3, 4, 5% rent hikes every year. We have 2-year leases in place, and 90% of the time, those 2-year leases has a 4% automated rent hike on year 2. Heck yeah. Okay. So that's pretty awesome. So this is year 1 projected. Just projection. You might have a negative year. You might have a big $2,000-$3,000 expense, which wipes out your cash flow. That's why I say approach this 10-year thought process here, and their economies of scale. So anyways, in apples to apples though, your 100 grand will be making, so just on your 100 grand, even if we did 4, it'd be the same return proportionally. Okay, so take a picture of that, write that down. That's kind of what you're looking at theoretically with a turnkey property. Hence why I love real estate. You get more than double-digit returns, and like a couple of them are pretty just like you're gonna get these. So just even if everything else sucks, right? And your cash, if you don't get any cash flow, it doesn't appreciate. You're still getting an 8-9% return. Man, a lot easier than the stock market and riskier and all that. You own a physical asset. There's all these great things, okay? Pros and cons though. Okay, so great question, Donna. Now let me go over the other phase of this. So why don't we go over the other phase, which is now let's say, instead I want to consider putting this $100,000 into an apartment complex, right? Now, let me explain what a syndication is. First off, you might need to qualify, be like an accredited investor, where you have to have a net worth of $1 million excluding your personal residence, or make $300,000 if you're filing jointly for 2 years and expect to make that. Anyways, go look up an accredited investor. So a little bit bigger barrier of entry. Obviously, barrier of entry is most syndicators want 50 grand or 100 grand minimum. So what a syndication would be is we'd go and buy like a huge, you would partner up with people, whoever they are. There's plenty of syndicators out there, just like turnkey providers. We are one of them. And what you would look at, they're going to go buy a big 100-unit apartment complex or something, or 300, 500 anyways. What they're doing is they're pooling all this money. You would put in your 100 grand. Let's say it was like a total $1 million raise. So you would be like a pro rata owner. And then what they typically do on this is like they're going to raise rents from $500 a month to $600 a month, and they're going to put in $200K in repairs. Anyways, there's thousands of scenarios of what you could do. Usually it's a value add. Sometimes you just buy it and it's already good cash flowing day one. There's going to be a net operating income. So it's kind of like they're flipping it or increasing the value of the property, usually a play, or sometimes just great cash flow. So totally there's thousands of scenarios. But typically what it is that they usually will go like, well, hey, we're going to make X dollars on this. Us as the managers, we're managing this. We're going and buying this. We're managing this rental. We're managing these rent increases. So the managers, they get like a portion of what that 100,000 you put in, and then the investors get a return. So they might split it like 90-10. Or if it's a really good deal, depending on how good it is, they might split it 30-70. So it all just depends on how these numbers are. So like, let's say the deal is actually even a better deal where they're actually going to raise rents from $500 to $700 a month. Man, they might be like, well, we're going to split it 50-50. And they might also offer a preferred return. RETUR, terrible R. Preferred return of 6 to 9% or something like that, meaning go look up what a preferred return is. I should do a video on preferred return. I'm actually going to write that down. Preferred return. Great question to answer. Anyways, like it means before the managers take any of these splits, you have to achieve this hurdle of return on your money. Anyways, what typically most of these go to is about a 12. I've seen up to like them projecting like an IRR, internal rate of return, 12 to 20. So what it is basically they're taking a little chip. Basically this is like their fee for them, for you having the opportunity to be in this deal, packaging this all together, managing all this stuff. It's a lot more complex than a single family. And you're kind of coming in as owners, but instead of you owning it all 100, like 100 grand, you're owning your pro rata share. But of that pro rata share, like let's say if it was just a simple split and you made $1,000, the managers produced $1,000 and it was a 90-10, you would get 900 of it. The managers would get 100 for providing the services and making the deal happen. So anyways, the IRRs are 12-20. So, but what's nice about this, you have way less work. It's less risky because you're just a portion share of a big unit. So the economies of scale. You don't have the loan in your name. That's big. So no loan is in your name on this one. Where on a turnkey, you're guaranteeing that 30 or more. And then also the managers the property management company. You have to worry about any of that, where at a turnkey, you have to manage the property managers of the turnkey, of the turnkey single family. So it's a lot more passive, definitely way more. Also, it's kind of fun, you're in a bigger deal. You can also, economies of scale. You could fork over a whole $1 million, right? You can go, it'd be a lot harder to invest $100 million into a bunch of single families than a couple of apartments, right? Because apartments are a few $1 million each to purchase. So economies of scale, just depends on your time. So you're taking a little bit different of a dip here, versus 31.5 with a turnkey. So basically these managers are scraping a little bit of this turnkey. Right, and this is factoring in your principal pay down, the appreciation. It's not, and these IRRs these are before taxes. Okay, so you might, usually in their projections, so you might add like another, like I mentioned, 5 or 7% for the tax advantages. Okay, yep, that's something to think about. Look in there in the manager's pro forma. Anyways, I think I beat that one down good enough and got you on the right path. So let me open up my chat here. Thanks for the question, Donna. All right. So hopefully that answered that for you. Okay. There you go. Now let's dive into the next question. Guys, feel free to ask some questions. I'd love to answer these live for you. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Memphis Investment Properties on YouTube, to make sure to be getting great knowledge and hits of these great data and knowledge. This is awesome stuff to kind of help you understand and wrap your arms around, sink your teeth into. Okay, Donna, you asked another great question. Yes, you're welcome, Donna. Glad. You're welcome. With apostrophe. May have good spelling. Okay, Donna, your second question was, when the 30-year loan costs more than the purchase price of the total rental home, why does that make sense? I'm a little confused with your question. I'm kind of going to go about, I think this is what you're asking is like, you know, let's say you go and get, and for example, say, let's just keep going off this property that I kind of analyzed. Let's say you go, you know, the purchase of the property is $100,000 and your loan is going to be $80,000, right? But I think you're asking is that, you know, over the life of that 30 years, right? Your principal, obviously you're going to pay the principal of 80 grand over the life of that 30-year loan. And then what I think you're asking is like your interest over that 30-year, your total interest is going to be something crazy. So let me do that real quick. Mortgage calculator. So 80. So I'm going to do an $80,000 loan at 4.25 interest rate over 30 years. Mortgage amortization. Just give me a sec. This would be really cool to kind of dive. So the loan type, whatever, mortgage, loan amount, 30 years, 4.25. Oh, this one doesn't show. Okay, yes, this one does. Okay, cool. So if we got a 30-year at 4.25% interest, your interest over the life, your monthly payment, and your monthly is going to be $393.55. The total interest you'll pay over those 30 years is $61,679. Right, so you're like, that interest and all the payments I make over time, all, you know, if you include all those payments times 360, the total payments you're going to pay is $141,141,679. Right, so those two added together, I believe, equals that. Yes. So you're like, oh, that's way more than what I purchased. I'm almost double paying. That's what your question is. So reason being, okay, you just got to kind of look at it as a from like an investor standpoint, right? So, well, you got to kind of consider, okay, well, 4.25%, that's kind of like the average interest over the whole time, and I'll be paying this interest. Like, you're kind of like, well, why don't I just buy it all, $100,000, I'll have this loan. Okay, there's pros and cons to getting a loan. Depending on your risk tolerance, your aggressiveness, where you're at on your investing, your age, and other scenarios, I kind of believe, actually, I like this leverage because, you know, as I just gave her an example, I'm going to get probably an ROI of 30%, right? Where then I'm just paying a guy, you know, 4.25, and that's already actually calculated in this, to go and be able to make this deal happen, right? So then I can go and buy more deals with that leverage. So, you know, yeah, the interest is steep, but I mean, man, it's a lot less than what I think I can make on it. Now, if I went and went to an investment where I'm only making 3%, and I'm leveraging 4.25 to go get it, then that's not a great trade-off for the risk on it. Also, what's kind of nice is that it's fixed. So this is fixed interest. So that 4.25, your monthly payments are always this. It's fixed at that for 30 years. So as you know from inflation, I mean, it's 3 to 5%. And some people even debate it's like at 7 or 8 in some categories. I mean, 10 and 12. Anyways, as inflation goes up, you still are paying, that's not a straight line, you're paying the same fixed amount. So like $393 mortgage payment in 10 years from now is going to be piddly, you know, right? And I would assume your rent's probably going to go up from $895. I mean, in 10 years, who knows where it goes? Just speculation, of course. But I mean, let's call it $1,200. It's not a terrible jump there. And then yet you're still making that same fixed payment. How does that sound? So really, like, who wins in this battle against these lenders is who holds on to the loan for the longest. Like, best for the lenders if you just get done with it in 2 or 3 years and sell the house or something, because they had all those upfront costs and stuff, and they get the most interest on the amortization schedule at the beginning, as I mentioned. So to me personally, I mean, I'm like, yeah, I'll take that deal all day. I mean, I'm gonna, you know, we're barely going with keeping up with inflation here, and yet I still have the same fixed payment. So my dollars over time, the $1 here is valued less. The $1 might only be worth like 60 cents valued over here over time. Okay, so that's kind of the thoughts there, my thoughts, and why I definitely am pro leverage. Okay, Dominique, how do you really analyze a property from a wholesaler's perspective to get cash buyers fast? Like, is there a certain spread cash buyers are wanting? Okay, yeah, so I mean, basic real estate 101, I'll answer that question, is you got to look at what someone's going to do is you're going to want to make a little bit of a profit, and you're going to want to factor in holding costs and soft costs. But basic flipping, so now I'm getting into flipping. These aren't turnkey numbers, but you're going to purchase it. You're going to purchase a property for whatever. You're going to have renovation. So you do purchase minus your renovations minus holding costs. Right? Holding costs include insurance. And this is going to be times it by monthly times your time, right? You have time for insurance. You have to pay typically 3 to 4 to 6 months you're holding the property. So you got to pay insurance, taxes. Taxes are typically $1,200 a year per annum. So a third or fourth of that would be what they'd have to pay. Interest. Most guys are getting interest to buy more properties and to leverage, so they have to pay more interest on these loans, these short-term loans, mortgage, taxes, insurance, utilities. So holding costs include utilities. Then you have to minus out soft costs. Okay, so soft costs include title fees. Right, so on the buy and the sell, you have to pay the title company recording fees, there's transfer tax, just all this stuff that, you know, tenders, title insurance policy, all these things, title fees. Points on the loan. You know, then just your general overhead, right? Also, real estate commission, right? Real estate. Right? If you're going to sell it with a realtor, 6%. So that has to be factored in there. Then, I mean, what you really do is you start with your after repair value, what someone's going to sell it for, and minus all these things out, then obviously the flipper, right? If you're wholesaling, they're going to want to make a profit. 10 to 20% profit margin on the gross ARV would be like a reasonable amount of profit that, you know, and risk and hedge and all that and time value of your time. and then you minus all those, and then that would be, pretty much your offer, or that's how much you could offer. So yeah, those are the things into it when in any real estate transaction. Go check out more of that at biggerpockets.com. They got some great stuff on there. All right, Chris Mullen. If I invest with MIP plus use your property management company, to manage the property, but my situation changes and I want to self-manage or transfer management, can I do that? Is there a contract? Great question, Chris. Man, I love it. Here's our general thing at Memphis Investment Properties. We are really chill, I guess is a way to put it. We are super chill, super like, man, what's best for you? Okay. So Chris or any of our buyers, like, look, guys, we're straight up. Like, we understand if we suck, if we're terrible, go ahead and let us know as management. I would appreciate giving us some heads up, like, hey, look, man, I'm concerned about this or about that, about you managing. I'm gonna give you guys these things to improve on. If I don't see improvement in a month or 3 months, give some time, then I might go to different, like, let us know, okay, fine, we're be reasonable with us. So we do lock in our management contracts for a year, but we're not going to hold anyone really too much. Talk to Zach Bador. He's our client services manager over here at Reading Company. But I mean, get in close contact with him. But yeah, I mean, we're not going to lock you in for that whole time. So if you give us especially like a 60-day, 90-day warning, we can get out of it. Secondly, if you're selling your property, I mean, we're not going to say, oh, well, you need to keep this management for a whole year. You're only 6 months your management. If you need to sell right now, go ahead and sell it. Just give us a warning. Hey, it's for sale. I'm just letting you know, guys, it's going to close in a month, and I'll terminate management from there, or when the tenant's out. So that's totally fine. That being said, I don't want everyone just like, hey, I quit right now, quit the management contract. We do, it's a contract. We want you in there for a year, preferably, and just wait till it goes over the year to get out. But if your situation occurs, if we're not doing stuff on our part, and we're really failing, and you give us warning, that's totally fine to get out of that contract. And also, we don't want to, hold someone hostage who isn't enjoying their time with us. So that being said, that happens very rarely with us because we're awesome, right? We're doing our best. We listen to our clients and our investors all over the world and country. I am an investor myself. Jim Reedy, my partner, who's 750 doors here in Memphis, is an investor. All of them are managed by us. So we treat every property as if it were our own. Then also, I invested out of state as well. I invested from Salt Lake City, Utah, and owned in Memphis. So we know what it's like. We know those frustrations. And to be honest, what's really interesting is if you're not satisfied with us, you probably won't be satisfied with another property management company. We see people that typically just tend to go from one-to-one, unreasonable expectations. But yeah, typically we also get people from other management companies that are like, hey, I don't like X company in town. I'm going to try you guys out. And then they stay with us. They stick, is our typical customer experience. Of course, every company has flaws, has issues, but I would say we're doing our best to listen, to improve, and I would say we provide great service. So there you go. The answer is, yeah, if things change and you want to self-manage, transfer management, you can totally do that, Chris. Likewise, if there is a stipulation on how long I have to hold the property before I can refinance or sell. If there's a stipulation. There's no stipulation, as I was kind of mentioning there, Chris, there's no stipulation in our property management agreement for selling. If you sell, you're going to terminate automatically. And if the tenant's still in there, we would just enjoy the opportunity of you presenting to that buyer that you're selling to be like, hey, I currently have management in place with Reading Company. Why don't you give them a call, see if you want to continue management? And that's typically best for the tenant and for the management company, because if you sell a house and halfway through, then all of a sudden the tenant has a new management company, that's kind of bad for that new buyer who just bought from you, your house that's occupied. Because then the tenant's all confused. The payments, they're like, do I pay Reedy? Do I pay this new property manager? So anyways, it's kind of in the best interest for yourself and selling, also having a good property management company to help you sell it. So there's that on the transfer. And then, refinance, that doesn't affect our property management contract at all. I mean, it's your property. You own the turnkey property 100% yourself. You are the sole authoritative decision person on that. Of course, as property management, you sign over, the the property management agreement. And we should do a video on that. I think Zach has one on just the property management agreement. Basically, you're giving us the right to market it and to lease it, to screen the tenant, collect rent on your behalf. Anyways, yeah, well, if you want to refinance, you can do whatever you want. Go to any lender as long as it makes sense to you, the cost of refinancing, the equity you have in it, and what you'll pull out. Go ahead and refinance anytime you want. That's what I do. So yeah, there's no stipulation on refinance. Great questions, though. I like that a lot. That is a scary thing, I've heard some management companies that are like, oh, nope, the contract expires in 3 months and you're not happy with us, but you still have to stay with us. Like, who would want a client like that? Like you're stuck with an angry client for 3 more months just so you can collect. I mean, we charge 8%, so 8% of $1,000, we collect $80, $240 extra. Like, we don't really roll that way. We'll discuss and be open with you and figure things out. Okay. For more details, go to readingcompany.net, readyandcompany.net, and yeah, you can go to contact someone, and Zach Bedore would answer way more detailed questions about property management and transfers and anything like that for you. That's a great question, Chris. Okay, so we have another question, Rich D. Okay, what are you covering at your summit next weekend? Holy moly, has the time arrived? The time has arrived. Wow, it is next weekend. Okay, guys. TheSofaSummit.com. The Sofa Summit, or go to MemphisInvestmentProperties.net. It's at the very top. How to become a passive income machine. Right? Okay, how to become a passive income machine. Guys, this is going to be the best conference of all time, quite frankly, in my opinion. Okay, the Sofa Summit. Sign up, register, tell your friends, tell your family. Guys, I'm teeing it off. First talk, teeing it off with invest in yourself. Let me talk about that. So investing in yourself, I think this is the most key thing to any investor, to anything, even in the stock market, anything in life. I go over 5 key principles, okay, about what you should do, what you should be doing, my suggestions that I do and that I've read from other guys way smarter than me on how to invest in yourself. I go about how to track your net worth. That is a key thing. How can you know if you're improving on something if you don't know how it's doing, right? And how can you know if you're doing something wrong or something right, better yet, if you're not tracking it? I go over currencies of the wealthy, how to leverage your time, leverage your money, how to kind of Robert Kiyosaki's 4 quadrants, how to be an investor instead of an employee, what the wealthy do and how the rich think, and some other great topics. Trying to recall my whole talk. I just gave the other day. Practice it. So anyways, go over 5 key principles. We also have IRAs, how to self-direct your retirement accounts, how to grow your IRA account to $1 million. All those tax advantages. How about not paying any taxes? You can invest in real estate inside your IRA, right? That stock market's all crazy. You can actually, under certain circumstances, we have third-party self-custodians that can help you put it instead of the stock market, crazy stocks or whatever, you can put it into real estate. And as you've seen, great returns there. Also, we'll be talking about the tax loopholes. What tax loopholes of real estate investing? I was kind of giving some nuggets there. Chris Picuro talking about the tax loopholes of real estate investing, and it's really very, very weighted heavily to real estate investing. Number 1, because it's a business. Number 2, because it's creating jobs. Number 3, because it's creating housing. The government cannot do that. They would not be able to, so they've incentivized the average American, average investor and business owner to do real estate because of all those great things, because it just stimulates the economy, and that's how the world goes around. We're going to be talking about, of course, Mark Hart, Mr. Pretty Boy Mark Hart in these YouTube videos, as you know, the main man. He's going to be talking about why Memphis. Why Memphis, how to invest in turnkey, how to get started, the basics. Talk about all the industry and logistics going around in Memphis, all those great things. So pretty awesome. Then we also have one of our investors. Okay, oh yeah. One of our investors who's been investing with us the longest time, one of the top longest. He's been investing with us for like 10 years, 9 years. Awesome guy. He's a rocket scientist. Very, very smart guy. This ain't rocket science. Well, he does that. And he's going to be going over his portfolios, his properties, his investment strategy. A legit investor. He's out of state in California like most of you people watching. He's not here in Memphis physically. He's going to go over all the good and the bad of what's it's been like investing with us, with other providers, his experience investing in real estate out of state. I mean, just straight to you, straight to the point, no fluff. Exactly what's happening with another investor who's probably farther along than most other investors, I would assume. People talking on here. He's owned, I don't know how, but definitely at least 6 with us, and I think others in other places, houses. Okay. Oh, we're going to be going in the field. Okay, so I'm going boots on the ground, right, in Memphis. We'll be producing live at some of our properties, be going over our finished turnkey product, walking through a house with one of our renovation managers, Derek. And Derek will be walking through what he's looking out for you as the investor and also for the future tenant that's going to be in there, AKA for you as the investor. We're taking care of all those big renovations, all those big ticket items, and the most common tenant complaints. We're trying to fix all those issues up front so that way the tenant is smoothly sailing along in that house. They want to rent that property for years and years and years and decades to come, so you have less vacancy and a higher chance of a paying tenant and all of that. And then also looking out for you as the investor, what common repairs we're looking for, why we decide on luxury vinyl plank floors versus carpet, and how it's actually cheaper for us to put in carpet, but more expensive to put in laminate, but it's better for you for us to put in laminate because it lasts longer, saves you money. So we've really dialed in. We've renovated over 6,000 doors. Let me say that again. My partner, Jim Reedy, has been in business for 45 years. He's brought me on as his man to help out the operations on the partner on the turnkey side. But him over his career of 45 years, Jim Reedy. If you haven't heard of Jim Reedy, well, now you have. He's one of the top owners of real estate in Memphis, Tennessee, one of the longest experienced guys, 6,000 units he's renovated. So we know a thing or two about renovations. We know a thing or two about market cycles. Jim Reedy will be talking about his experience, his story in real estate investing. Also his son, Brad Reedy, my partner as well. Great guy. He's been doing real estate for 10 years, has worked with hedge funds, has seen the business really take off in these past 10 years and grow. So kind of cool, the little, the American dream going on here, right? Multiple businesses owned and all of that. He manages 2,700 doors as property management company. Anyways, pretty awesome. I mean, that's why we're here today. These guys, if he didn't start right out of high school, out of college, that wouldn't have happened. So you get to hear his story. Man, I think I've covered a lot there. I think I've given away all the secrets. Yeah, just kidding, guys. There's so many more secrets in there. So why don't you chime into it? I'm real excited about that. Oh my gosh. Another keynote speaker, Scott Trench. Duh. Scott Trench, the CEO of Bigger Pockets. So Bigger Pockets, you haven't heard of it. It's one of the largest real estate investor websites. And Scott Trench, he's the CEO of that company, and he goes over his personal investing strategy. He invests in stocks, invests in real estate. He goes over the pros and cons of different markets. We have some other debates and fun talks on there. Anyway, Scott Trench, a great guy. He's written a #1 selling book, Set for Life. Suggest checking out that book. Anyways, he's talking with us about our conference, independence, those great things. Okay, if that's not enough, guys, I don't know. You'd be foolish not to come. You'd be foolish not to come because you're going to learn so many great things. It's going to be life-changing, I dare say. Definitely life-changing, put you on a better path. Okay, so that is the SOFA Summit. It's going to be pretty exciting. As you can tell, I'm super pumped up about it. Okay, thanks for your question, Rich. All right, guys, I think I'm going to head it off right there. I'm trying to think of my last and final thoughts. If you guys have any last and final questions or thoughts, I'd be happy to squeak one more question in for you if you have one. So kind of here's my last and final thought is just be consistent. I think that's the key is decide on your path, believe in it, no matter what. Have that burning desire for what you want in the future, and have just processes in terms of cues that remind you of your goals. Also, people, surround yourself with the good people that keep you focused on real estate, financial independence, your personal life, your family life. Surround yourself with those people that help remind you and cue you in on that. Do your daily consistent habits over time. Just plant little seeds and let them grow. Anyways, guys, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Memphis Investment Properties. Hit subscribe. We're going to be coming at you with great videos every single working day almost, and every week a live video at least. Thank you so much. Signing off.